So, honorable member of the board, generals, officers, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the time that you will grant me for. I will try to be as short as I can. And first of all, I want to thank Mr. Beera for his intervention, emphasizing on the role of biometrics in national security, and that will be my main focus area. I will focus on the role of biometrics as long as national security is concerned. So, first of all, I will explain to you with SAGEM, but very shortly. This is not a marketing presentation, it's a national security presentation. What is biometric? Because most of you knows what biometric is, but maybe not all of you, so very shortly I will explain the different applications, and we will enter the core of the subject, and how it could apply on national security as a key to national security. So why is SAGEM able to speak about biometric? Is because SAGEM is doing biometrics since 35 years. And we have already implemented 450 systems in more than 100 countries. And amongst those 450 systems, we equipped 150 police forces worldwide, including Interpol, including the FBI, including Scotland Yard, and including several police forces, with whom I'm sure Mr. Beera has already interacted. But we have a worldwide presence, of course, and in India we are present in Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore, where we have more than 1,000 employees. That's for SAGEM in India. We have participated on all the social scheme projects, and also to MNIC1 and MNIC2, along with the PSUs under the National Registrar of India. We were part of those projects, so we know India since a very long time. So, most of all, what Mr. Beera says on the other speakers also, that the critical part of national security when you rely on technology, and today you rely on technology, everybody does, is that the technology provider should be a partner. It's absolutely critical. We have to be in a public-private partnership. We have to find new business model to make sure that it's not off the shelf. I sell you the technology and I run away to another client, because the target is far too important. So for SAGEM, it's the reason why we are world number one, is that we are partnering with our client with FBI since 35 years, for example, and France 24 years, of course. So anyway, what is biometrics? Biometrics is, of course, a technical word for an old concept. It's the way to be able to recognize this treasure. And as it has been said in the former presentation, if everybody adds to each other to describe his neighbor, you will make a lot of mistakes, and it will be not as useful as it could be when it is automatically treated by the technology. So, as Mr. Nixon, director of the Office of National Intelligence in USA, said, today identification of the person is the key aspect of fighting against crime, fighting against terrorism, and ensure safety. And biometrics is, of course, a key element of that. And there is today three main biometrics, which are as recognized by the ICAO. It's fingerprints, face, and iris, of course. Along with those, you have the hand geometry, you have the voice, the signatures, the DNA, the vein. You have also the ears, biometric of the ears, which is used by the police forces. I don't know if the Indian police are using ears biometrics. I'm not sure, because the ears biometric is useful, for example, when you catch mobile phone. You have always traces of the ear, and then you can compute and compare with the guys you have caught. Biometrics is working the process is very simple. The basic process is very simple. It's image processing. It's pattern recognition. That's all. So first of all, you capture the image, whether it's the image of the finger, the face, the eyes, the ear, whatever you want, and then you process it with an algorithm to extract the characteristical points. You put it in a database with a matching engine, and then you, based on the precision of the algorithm, you have a comparison system, which we call the matching system, who provide you with a hit-no-hit decision. That is biometric. All performance is measured that, of course, biometrics can make some mistakes. So you have failure to enroll, the difficulty to take pictures, for example, of the finger sometimes. The false rejection rate is when the system says it's not you, but it's you. So it could happen, that kind of mistake. The false acceptance rate is that the system says it is you, but it's not you. Basically, to make it simple, this corresponds of the accuracy of the system. Any kind of biometric system with accuracy below 99% is not acceptable at all. And the only way to make sure is to organize of course, technological tests on a real big range. We participated in January of benchmark. We call it benchmark for the Delhi Police, for example. It has been organized with a lot of proficiency, so it was a very good benchmark. We participated also on benchmark for NCRB, for different police forces in India. Where are biometrics used? Of course, law enforcement. It was the beginning of the use of biometrics is law enforcement. And by the way, India is the creator of biometrics used for law enforcement, because the most used classification system for fingerprints is the Henry classification system. It has been invented by Indian fingerprint expert in Calcutta in the 19th century. Today, this is the core system, who is in the base of all the algorithms in the world to match database. Interpol, FBI are using Henry classification system, so it's a bit of a shame that the IP was not recognized at this time. Otherwise, India will be extremely rich, even richer than it is today. So identification, of course, because civil identification, every national security should be seen as a holistic system. So you have to identify your population for both criminal and civil reasons. So then you identify with national ID card, passport, driver license, and all. India, in this aspect, has took the smartest way, from our point of view, to address this identification system, which is the UID project. UID project is absolutely unbelievable. It's an incredible technical challenge, but most of all, it will change the face of the region forever. We are absolutely convinced in it. Technologically speaking, it's feasible. It's a huge challenge, but it is feasible. The approach, politically, socially, economically, today is unmatched worldwide. We have a strong experience of that kind of system, a strong experience of the way to approach biometric on a national level. The way that India is approaching biometrics it's a first. It's a first, and it's today the best, for sure. There is also border control, of course, as it has been mentioned for Dubai, but you will see that there is border control based on biometrics everywhere in the world. There is, also, of course, physical and logical access control. You can securize your laptop, your database, your entrance of your house, the access of a military forces bases based on biometrics. It could be fingerprint, it could be eyes recognition, iris, face. Today, the most used is a fingerprint, of course. And it's the most difficult to cheat. You can easily cheat iris, you can easily cheat face. It's difficult to cheat fingerprints. I can answer a question if you want about this afterwards. Each time you speak of national security, you speak of the scale of magnitude. So then you always speak of large-scale biometric. So large-scale biometric, there is the trick. That's the main reason why you have to rely absolutely on your technological provider. That's the main reason why you really have, as far as biometric is concerned, to create a technological biometric base in India for India. It is critical, and this is the path which is taken by the Indian government with the UID project. And for us, it's a huge threat, by the way, but it's the best way for national security. The ID management objective, the issuance of ID documents like passport, ID card, and all. It's of course to produce secured official document. Because if you have paper-based document, anybody can now reproduce fake ID document with Photoshop on a laser printer. So if you include smart cards with biometrics, then you will increase the level of difficulty to forge the ID document. It will not be impossible. It's never impossible to forge. But the thing is, you will make it possible only for government and only for the highest criminal organization, which means that the day-to-day basic forgery will be completely wiped off, will not exist any longer. And if you catch someone with a false biometric ID document, it's either a spy or a member of a really, really, really high-level criminal organization. Basically, when you start to implement biometric system, you see that the fraud decrease at least of 90%. Of course, the main idea is to ensure a unique identity. That is based on biometrics. Of course, it's the best way today to ensure uniqueness of identities. Biometric. Maybe tomorrow we'll find a better way than biometrics, but today is the best way. Ensure the right to detail ID. That is not only to make sure that villain cannot forge the ID, but it's also to make sure that villain cannot steal your ID. That is the most important. So it's to make sure that you are. If there is blacklist all over the world now, when you cross a border, when you have a criminal database and all, that is the best way to prove that you are not on the blacklist. Is your biometrics. Protect the border, of course, but we will go through it. So, for example, there is a lot of countries which has already implemented nationwide biometric ID system. To give you an example, those are only SAGEM references, and you can add 20% more than this. All those countries are today equipped or in the process to be equipped with a biometric system. So it is field proven. It is widely field proven. It is implemented since 20 years, so it works, and it works extremely well. So for Asia Pacific, for example, you have, of course, entire Australia, Malaysia, India with MNIC and UID, of course. India will be the epitome of biometric. China is little by little more for border control. Afghanistan, Kazakhstan, Philippines, of course, electoral system. You have also to add Hong Kong and similarly Japan, of course, Japan, but Japan is not so border control. Use of the reason for controlling border, of course, it's obvious to say that fight against terrorism, of course, control the asylum seeker, control the illegal transfer, and all. How come that biometric can be so useful to help you to control your border? Because it will simplify the border control if you use biometrics. As well as it sounds, if it's well managed, use of biometric will simplify the border crossing, and it is more and more important because security is always a trade-off between security and comfort. Tourism, for example, is a huge possibility to increase your incomes for any country. If it takes 2 hours to cross your borders, most of the tourists will decide not to go to India or to France or whatever any longer. They will go once, not twice. It's too long. It's not easy to enter and all. But you need to protect your border. So you need to control the people properly and for sure. So you say, people will wait. I don't want to have another bomb attack in my town. So there are only tourists. There is always a trade-off. Biometrics authorize to have fast border control, fast border crossing with the most reliable control system. And most of all, it's also is the agreement between countries. Because interoperability could be an issue for CCTV. It's not an issue at all with biometrics. Biometrics is implemented worldwide since 25 years. Everything is already standardized. You have ISO standard, you have NIST standard, you have the Interpol standard. All the biometrics, what we call templates, let's say datas, is interoperable worldwide. You can provide your biometrics to any kind of vendor, any kind of producer today, and you will be able to exchange data with your neighbor country or the country on the opposite side of the world, or state to state. It's not an issue. It's totally interoperable as far as fingerprints is concerned. The interoperability is also okay with face recognition, but it's not down with iris. Iris has an issue of standardization, but this is maybe too much into detail. So, of course, the main government challenge for, as I said, for border control is the balance between security and facilitation, and it will be more and more a big issue. The balance between security and facilitation, the capacity also to interconnect heterogeneous system. This word with my French accent, it's better if you read it. And and of course there is a point which is maybe Mr. Beera could. We will interact on this, is the acceptability of the usage of biometrics to the users. I mean, most of the time, the reason why we implement biometrics is to help the citizens. Is not to consider them as criminals. So they have to accept this. They have to accept the biometrics. It takes time. It will take a lot of time. It's increasing little by little. People are accepting biometrics more and more. But it's not so easy. Even I don't like the idea to give my finger, my face, my eyes to a database which will be handled by whom? By a policeman, which I don't know. Is he well trained? Will he make a mistake? So it's not so easy. So this is the technology provider and just technology provider. That's all we do. All the real critical aspect like acceptance by the population, education of the population, making sure that privacy is respected and all, Unfortunately, of course, is not on the technological part. It's on the political part, and that is the most critical aspect. So as far as border control system is concerned, those are a few examples of technology as they are used today. You will see, for example,